It is officially over. It was fun while it lasted. I told y'all last year it's going to be a lot of teams looking at that rebuild and a lot of teams on the brink of a rebuild. You got Miami. Orlando might change some things around. If the Knicks keep struggling like they struggling, they talking about making some. We are in a great, as a Raptor fan, because we did it early. Shout out to Pascal Pippen for getting the job done. Tyrese finally, listen, it took a Pacer fans, you didn't need me on your back because I was already frustrated from us as a Raptor fan, us sacrificing another season. You didn't need this energy. So I let y'all be. I let y'all live. I watched it grow into what it is today. Y'all got back in stride. It's beautiful. But this is about the Bucks. We're going to talk about Pascal Pippen and Pacers later, but this is about the Bucks. It wasn't supposed to end this way, but I'm sure glad it did. It would, listen. Hey, Doc, what you want to do, my boy? It's about time the reality of these situations come to fruition. You can't live off the past anymore. You can't live off of names anymore. You have to evolve with the times. And we got too many players living off of past glory and too many coaches being grandfathered in, living off of what used to be and not really being in the moment 100% because they don't understand what used to work. The NBA changes every year. It's not going to work necessarily next year. On the surface, during the regular season, shit might look clean. But the minute you get to some meaningful basketball, the truth starts to show. And if you start to weaken along the way, it's going to be even worse in the playoffs. And that's what happened to the Bucks. Because it comes down to if your star player and your brand coach, because we know Doc Rivers is a brand. He's a name. We're not talking about Doc as a player. Doc as a coach is a brand. You expect certain things. He didn't live up to expectation. He hasn't lived up to expectations ever. That Boston Celtics shit was some Celtic shit. Danny Ainge and Kevin McHale made those deals happen. And then they got Ray Allen. And then it wasn't all Doc had, man, listen. Because they got back to winning as soon as Doc left. They got back to it. They won another championship without Doc. They had success without Doc. So it's more to the system than just the coach. And he hasn't had real success since. Because the expectation is larger than his brand, larger than his name and his abilities. And it's finally starting to come to the light. There's no way they should be out of there in 5. It should have been more competitive. They had a decent enough team, and you had Giannis. It should have been a better fight. And as you can see in the subtitle, you know what I mean? Masai, make that call, baby. Make that call, see what they talking about. You know what I mean? We might be able to get Kevin Porter Jr. You know what I mean? G Money, you good. We off that. You might be able to get a couple dollars because you probably be the last man standing. We can look at Giannis, see what we could do to make that move happen. We're not giving up nothing, but we're going to take everything. And then we could also, Bobby Portis, we could make a move for that. You know what I'm saying? We could talk. Yo, Masai, open up that conversation. Put the phone on, you know what I mean? Speed dial, see what they talking about. Catch them while they're vulnerable. I don't see how neither one of these guys have evolved with the times. The thing, the evolution stopped once they gained a certain level of success. And it's been happening a lot in the NBA the last 15, 20 years maybe. Once guys hit a certain level, the pressure's off. They're not continuously trying to stay there or protect it or go further. And in this climate, that's what's needed because it's all eyes on you constantly. So you have to live up to expectation because the expectation grows as you become better. So now you stop working, but the expectation continues to be where it's at and continues to advance because with your abilities, you should attain more success or closer than what you've done. This Bucks team is done. And when is Giannis going to be held accountable for the part he played? Even if it's a minuscule part. Whenever they lose or whenever somebody gets traded like a Drew Holiday or Coach Bud gets fired, he plays stupid. Like they didn't call and ask him for his input. Like a star player doesn't have a say. You got your brother who can't play on that team. You got a conversation that you can have. There's a level of cachet that you have. You can have a brief conversation at the minimum, like, yo, listen, I don't know if that's a good move. You gotta say, is what I'm saying. And there's no way for you to act like Balki Bartakamus every time something goes wrong. Like you didn't know, and this is a surprise to you. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Every time something happened, Larry, don't be ridiculous. He brings that bullshit out. He bring out the accent, all that shit. And try to play it off like I don't understand. Get the fuck out of here. You are part of this whole equation, a big part. Shout out to Jason Kidd for getting your skill sets pointed in the right direction and to you for getting where you are, but don't act like you didn't have a part in none of this. You got to take the good with the bad. And he doesn't take the bad at all. He just sweeps that, he FIFAs that shit under the rug and plays it off like, nah, I didn't know. Like, I'm like, he's surprised. Like they tricked him too. Get the fuck out of here. Like him getting Doc wasn't even a part of that, or bringing in Dame wasn't. And then him strategically saying, this is Dame's team. I'm just here to follow. What kind, man, if you don't get the, you don't get that bullshit up out of here, it's on you, champ. You the champ, two-time MVP, defensive player of the year. Now you want to defer to somebody else and be the Robin to somebody else's Batman. No, that's your team. It's your responsibility. And that's the difference between certain guys and Giannis. That's why I don't look at Giannis as a superstar among superstars. Yeah, he's a great player, but he's not a star. But he wants that treatment and that I'm a competitor. Nah, to a certain extent, there's limitations to what you can do. He lacks a lot. I don't know if it's awareness or film, but there's something missing. There's a lot missing because with what he's able to accomplish, there's not a lot of achievement after a certain point. When the expectations grow to a ridiculous height, he stays at the level he thinks he should stay at, he's comfortable at, and then we're supposed to accept it for what it is and not be critical. And the truth is, there's no way a team with Giannis on it should be in this position. At no point in time. None. No point in time should this shouldn't even be a factor. This shouldn't even be a fucking conversation. It should be a battle. There's no pride there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that thing that most superstars have after achieving a certain level of success. Listen, they understand if this is my last battle at the top, I'm going to die on my sword. He's ready. Listen, I don't see that. Like, he looks so domesticated and comfortable. That hunt, that pursuit. Remember when Giannis was like, I don't want to work out with nobody. Because everybody wanted to work out with Giannis at one point. But nah, I don't want to hang out with them. I don't want to work with them. I just want to come. You know what I mean? I don't want to be friends. Remember that, Giannis? Now, all of a sudden, he want to be a dog when it's convenient for him. Competition is 24/7, 366 in the leap year. And he don't have that. There's something lacking. There's too much of a comfortability on that court for him. Like it's supposed to happen. Like the game hasn't evolved. And you have to peep the evolution and figure out how you can take your greatness and plug it in and maintain that greatness and achieve more, because your numbers don't mean shit anymore. I'm sorry, we're past the numbers. After a certain point, we expect you to get numbers. You're that good. Can you continuously win when it counts the most? We don't see that enough. He's going to defer to coach and everybody else, and he's not taking on that responsibility. There's no ferocious protecting of what he built in Milwaukee. He looked shocked that they lost. And there's nothing like losing to shock a superstar, because it shocks the ego. You know you're better than this. And Part of the reason why I took that time out, because I had to dig deeper. Because everybody's starting to sound like everybody else. They saying shit I said 4 years ago, and I can't come back in and sound like, because they're going to be accusing me of sounding like them. How you know what NBA players? Because I know NBA players. I've met NBA players. So I know what I know. Not these new niggas, the old heads. The ones who won championships in the 70s. Old Nick players. You meet people. You're in the right place at the right time. With the right people, you're going to meet people. They're going to have conversations with you. That's how I developed my ear. I know a lot of people are like, what do you mean? I can tell a pro by how they dribble. You don't even have to tell me what pro it is. I can tell you he's an NBA player just by how there's a popping sound when they dribble. I discovered that in the 80s. Because they don't dribble like we dribble. There's a popping sound. It's crazy, but there's a popping sound. It's just little things, right? And they're saying all this shit and trying to have all these sincere conversations I already had with y'all. And I didn't want to make it seem like I'm revisiting some old shit because I erased all my content. But also, I didn't want to make it seem like I'm piggybacking some shit and I already talked about it 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Now they want to have these sincere conversations. And it's crazy that the people who have these conversations are the ones who didn't like coaches, who didn't get along with coaches, who always had issues with coaches. But they want to talk about and teach the game. And the coaches that, and I told y'all there should be a coaches podcast, and now you have coaches starting to speak out against players like, listen, that ain't the truth. Ask Melo. You know what I mean? So it's getting deeper. I had to go deeper. And I had to have a deeper understanding to have the better conversation. So I took a little time out. And I'm starting to see that a lot of people in the NBA is full of shit. It really turns you off to the game. So you got to find something that you love to talk about. And all these, the bars is up though. The bars is definitely up because I found a way to talk about the game that I enjoy. But I know it's basura right now. And there has to be a flipping over and the coaches have to take a real stance in the evolution. That's why that Chicago thing, even though Mike and them talk shit about Jerry Krause, who was right. Let's be clear on that. You can say Jerry Krause, he was right. Mike ain't the end all to be all. You got to keep looking for the next best thing. Always. He didn't rely on Michael Jordan because if he did, they wouldn't have had the triangle and they wouldn't have 6 championships. He brought the triangle in. He brought in Tex. Because Tex couldn't coach it because he didn't have the personality. But guess who did? Phil. You put them together, that's the ultimate coach. But he identified that system works. He was right. Because it's like 15, 16 championships with that triangle as a part of it or the face of it. There is no coach looking for the next thing, the future of the NBA, the future tactic to get the most out of their players. We don't see that anymore. They get a name, you get a name coach, you get a name player, and you add water and you think it's going to turn out to success. The problem is the fans of sports and of anything are too sophisticated now. They're still talking to us as if it's 1991, 1996, hell, even 2004, before YouTube. Social media enabled us to see everything. We've lived 1,000 lives by now. We've seen so much content, so many situations, so many amazing things that when you look at what's going on in the NBA, it kind of pales in comparison. So what else you got? Because we know you're not giving us the all because we're seeing certain levels of greatness in other spaces and we're not seeing it in the thing that we enjoy watching enough. And the numbers don't hit the same. And your explanation of the game doesn't hit the same. So what are you going to do? Because you keep throwing names, because Dame shouldn't have came back. We all know that shit. Dame should have stayed out. His leg was already compromised from the blood clots. What do you think was going to happen? It went from bad to worse quick than the motherfucker. First game back, he tore his Achilles. Same one he tore before. If I'm not mistaken, that's the leg he had the blood clots in. You wanted to bring him back for what? You should have been able to compete in a particular fashion, with more fury and tenacity with Doc, with the team you got, and with Giannis. It should be going into game 6 or going into it should be more competitive. If you don't win, you put up a hell of a fight. We didn't even get the hell of a fight. We're past that. And now you want compassion and understanding for your inadequacies, but you still want to get paid as if you're the best. We know what it looks like now. We've been exposed to too much information and too many spaces of greatness to compare you to. So we can't just take your word for it. So what you should do is put that fucking sign up and get that Family Dollar fire sale going so we can get Giannis. Because I'm sick of playing. At this point, you don't know what to do with them names. Send them to us. We'll show you what to do. We got Kawhi. Championship. You still chasing that. Send us Giannis. Championship. Some things you just can't listen. Send us Giannis. Championship. Whether LeBron goes back to Cleveland or not. But we know he's going back to Cleveland. After they get eliminated tonight, he's going. I'm going to have fun with that video too. But it's over. That run that they had is over. These players that play around Giannis know that there's limitations to his greatness. Now he has to become part of a team. Every great player needs a system. A system that functions and that is successful without him. That's where these coaches, guys like Doc Rivers and Nick Nurse and fucking Tom Thibodeau and all these other coaches, they don't understand that your system has to be successful without the superstar. You have to build your team realistically and honestly around your theories. The superstar doesn't need you to teach him much because he's already a complete entity. But the other guys who need to be coached up should be coached up to understand what their role is, because we already got a star. He can already do his without me telling him what to do. I trust him to do what he has to do, but you don't have that. And you don't have that leeway. I need you to do this, that, and that to make better sense of what he does and to get us further to where we're trying to go, which is a fucking championship or as close as we can get. But we're not fighting until the last drop of our blood is gone. This is competition. But now it looks like compromise competition. It's more conversation about competition than actual competition. Everybody want to be an intellectual until the intellectual shows up. And then it's like, oh, yeah, but what is your experience? Well, you ain't in, nah, nigga. I ain't go to the NBA. I just understand it better than you do. And I can explain it better than you do. And I'm dope. Shit. There is no comparison. I get busy. Now we back to the bars. Now we back to what we doing. And we going to make sense of this. We not going blindly into these conversations. We going to make sense of this shit. You're not going to just tell us it's snowing outside. I need to know why it's snowing and why it's snowing over here. And who told you that it was going to snow over here? And do you benefit from the snow being over here? And how can I benefit from it? Or how could I just get you out the way and use the snow for myself? I got options. I know what to ask for. But we're not going to just blindly leave it to these people to say this and be like, all right, he right. No, nigga. Coaches ain't even like you. You got a whole podcast and none of the coaches in the NBA liked you. They hated your ass. Owners ain't even like you. But you making it seem like, nah, I'm good. And now y'all saying this shit like y'all telling us some shit I ain't already get to. All right, man. Nah. Let's get to the bottom of this shit right now. You can't keep throwing talent because talent ain't enough, because everybody got a certain level of talent. You get to the pros, there's talent. Talent can't get you out of a bad decision. If you have a pattern of making bad decisions, there's no level of talent that's going to get you through that. You have to take full responsibility of what you're not capable of doing. Identify, self-audit. Motherfuckers think they perfect. Motherfuckers think they perfect. Because you in the league, you perfect. Nah, because you the face of the league or the face of the team, you perfect. Nah, nigga. You just like everybody else. You just more advanced, but we still need you to do a certain job. The world don't revolve around you, because if it did, you'd be winning. That's why when certain superstars go other places, they lose everywhere they go. I know there's only one champion, but we know what real competition looks like. It feels different. We've seen so many situations. I don't watch John Wick 1,000. That man, whether he was sick, whether he was tired, whether he was in pain, whether he was depressed, that gun was coming out. He was fighting. If he got to get on a horse, he's getting on a horse. If he got to get on a plane and land in Japan, or if he got to go to Saudi, or whatever he got to do to get the mission done, it's full energy. It's pressure. We don't see no more pressure. Everybody comfortable. And it has to get back to the coaches having an identifiable style of play. That's what made the 80s great and the 90s great. I know a lot of y'all like, why you always talk? Because I can close my eyes and I know what the Knicks are. I can close my eyes and know what Detroit was when Zeke was there, when Mike was in Chicago, when the Knicks had Pat Riley or even Rick Pitino or Stu Jackson. I don't even know why he was the coach. And I like you, Stu Jackson, but I don't know why you was the coach of the Knicks. Like, you know, Van Gundy's, you know their styles of play. You know it. Pat Riley's. Even video games tailored themselves around that style of play. The Lakers were going to play like the Lakers. Now you can change it and you can make it what you want to make it. Back in the day when you played Sega, you know what it was. The Lakers was, Mike was going to be high flying. Scotty was going to be Scotty, but there was limitations within that space. But the team's identity, you had to either understand it and play to their strengths and understand their weaknesses, or you tried to have Mike do. Mike wasn't 100%. This nigga was missing shots in Sega. Same thing with Bird and Magic. Like, these games, you knew the identity, and that's what made you want to play them. Because we understood what the Lakers were, what the Phoenix Suns were, what Lethal Weapon 3 was. We knew what all this shit was, and then it got away from that. Because it got away from the coaches. The coaches were no longer the brand. The style of play was no longer the brand. You just started selling individuality instead of the team concept. And now we're here. And now you realize the individual has limitations. And the coach has limitations too, but they're better together than apart. The ownership separates that because they put the guy who's making them the most money ahead of the guy who's supposed to keep track of him and to make use of his talents. When it should be 50-50, regardless of the pay scale and what you're paying the guy. Or put more responsibility in the sophistication or the sophisticated elevation of your player, your employee. He has to understand the nuances of his job and accept the fact you're expecting more from him. Because I'm giving you $6-7 million every 2 weeks. I need you to be great. And I need you to understand what that means. And I need you to see what that is and be able to dwell in that. I need pressure. I need heat. I need to feel you coming through the TV screen when you playing. Not just in the cities you want to play in, but every time. Because you don't want nobody to beat you because there's a pride thing. There ain't no more pride no more. They got selective politicking and selective pride. They go at who they want to go at instead of this competition. You're not going to have it every night, but you got to listen. 100% is required. Effort. The effort got to be there. The energy might not always be there, but that effort. They quick to give up. Some teams give up before they even get to the game. Some guys got their own diversified attentions. They want to focus on after the game, I'm going out. Nah, focus on the game. After you go out is that, but it ain't like that no more. And we got to bring that back. We can't keep these same old coaches around. We can't keep these same old, you know what I mean? If they not evolving with the times, then we're going to see this level of catastrophe. If we're going to see this level of performance and achievement, I'd rather it come from someone new because it's acceptable. It's not acceptable from a Nick Nurse who got 3 damn near Hall of Famers. It's not acceptable from Tom Thibodeau for the Knicks to be struggling with the Detroit Pistons when you know they have 4 veterans that they play around and it's a Trojan horse team. You know what it is. You shut them down. You shut the support down. Cade can't beat you by himself. Common sense. It ain't that hard. Give Cat the ball early. There's no post presence that can stop him. Get them in foul trouble. Then you let Jalen attack the basket. I don't know what they doing. I saw that game one. You can't just have the title of coach and say this is how I coach. And how you coach doesn't evolve with the way the game is evolving. Because that's part of coaching also. And coaching everybody as opposed to the guys who make your life easy is part of the job also. And making sure it's super competitive and that you look like you are a leader of soldiers. There's no integrity anymore. There's no passion for not wanting to look bad and lose. Like they accept it, like all right, because they winning in life. But one thing they don't understand, when you step away from basketball, those demons, that ghost of basketball past is gonna come and haunt you. I promise you. I promise you. It's gonna haunt. Listen, you're gonna have these epiphanies like, damn, I should have did this in that game. I should have did that. I missed that. I could have made more money if I'd have just added this one little thing to my game in the summer. Damn, I worked out wrong. Wait till you realize you worked out wrong. You did the wrong workouts. You didn't have to work on 1,000 things. You only had to work on one thing. And if I'd have worked on that one thing, that would have got me, and I could have got a damn. Hindsight is 2020. You saw what Ja Morant did after they got swept. I figured them out. It should have been 2-2. It should be tied right now, but you got shredded up. Nah, the reality is, as a professional at that level with your talent level, you're supposed to be more aware of the situation that you're in and who you're playing against. You should have had them figured out before the playoffs even started. Not when they beat you by 50. Not when you look crazy, even though it's your reality and you did figure out that how you could have made it more competitive, not so much win the series, but too little, too fucking late. And that's life. And I wish my first video, I wish the first one, this is the remix right here. And I hope the audio on this one is working. Because I realize where the problem lies. I hope the audio is pristine too. But if it isn't, we're going to have to do it a third time, or I'm just going to have to go live before I run around today. We need to see more of a determination when it comes to the fundamentals. Some coach has to bring back the mid-range. Some coach has to bring back knowing how to play basketball without the basketball being in your hands. Understanding that you should learn how to play off of a guy's movement and what's going on the court instead of standing there and watching. They have to understand what they're doing. That's why the Chicago Bulls and that triangle and the Lakers, they were sold because everybody understood their job and they did it. It was no standing around. You had a responsibility to do something and you did it. And they were able to be successful without the star and with the star. It's supposed to be the group of guys we got is enough to make the playoffs. Our superstar takes us over the top. Not our superstars carrying us. That doesn't work. Ask Mike. That's what it was for Chicago before Mike came. Before Tex came. Before Phil came. Who's going to be the next Tex winners? Who? At least they're trying it in Boston. Like, I can't stand the style of play in Boston because it's not that Brad Stevens style of play that we watched and that grew on us and we enjoy. I've been a Brad Stevens fan since he was at Butler. When he became the head coach of the Celtics, I liked him as a coach of the Celtics. There were certain principles they had and it worked. Now they on some cartoon shit and they won a championship with that, but we don't respect that because that's not the Brad Stevens way that got you into the space in the first place. And shout out to Love Jones. I'm not listening. He's a good coach, even though he's relying on veterans. You know what I mean? Same thing. Houston is the Detroit Pistons of the Western Conference. But he can coach his ass off. He's a player's coach, so he's gonna get more effort. As far as him being a tactician, that we'll discover that in time. But for the most part, he's definitely a player's coach, and we know his players are gonna give him effort and energy on the court. That's the beginning of it. You can't teach effort and energy. That's something the individual is responsible for. And he gets the most out of his players every game. Whatever they got, they give to him in energy and effort. And then they were successful. They ran all the way to the finish line. Nobody was jogging. They were the second seed. And that's why they were successful. They were fourth and they built it up to the second seed. So salute to them. There has to be more. And I say that there should be a new blood of coaches brought in and get rid of these old coaches instead of letting them being grandfathered in, and they're a safe bet and they're going to bring us the money because it's brand recognition. It's coming to a situation where the old heads like myself are not engaging because we know what we're getting. I'd rather see this type of performance from a young coach because it's understandable. I can't understand it when guys who have championships are being fired after 1 year and guys who are supposed to be great coaches not exploring their potential as much as they should and leaving so much on the table. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And there's no way to get around this but to apply pressure to the situation and start making these decisions of getting them up out of here if they can't do the job. I understand that those are your friends. And the thing is, if the front office of NBA players are ex-NBA players and corporate people who are cool with the players. So these are a lot of these positions that they have are relationship based. So a lot of the guys that you see having podcasts, those are the guys who don't have the relationships to be a part of the system. So they'll sit there and they'll make it seem like I'm making money over. Nah, you would rather be in the system because that's damn near forever money. That's a group, that's a crew you want to be a part of. Those are the real gangsters. Podcasting, we don't know how long that's going to last. And you're only interested until you're not. It's a good 3-year run, and then after that, it's stale. But everybody's rushing to be a podcaster. I just make videos. I'd rather be dope doing this. It's fun. It is what it is. But I don't like the method. You know what I mean? They thought bringing in a name and having names is the same thing as having effort and energy and achievement. It's not the same. It's not the same. You make bad decisions as a organization based off of anything other than winning. You got to accept what comes with that. And losing is bad for the brand. So regardless of what Giannis want to do, he's not going to be a part of losing. He's not. And Doc is going to go to his next place. Somebody else is going to believe in Doc. I don't know why, but Doc has been the most fortunate coach I've ever seen. I want y'all to track where he's been and how many Hall of Famers he's had and upcoming Hall of Famers that he's had. He's had Phil Jackson pales in comparison as far as how many Hall of Famers he had. George Lynch, I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame. Rick Fox, I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame. Robert Horry has 7 championships. He's having a hard time. You got Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady. Those are his first 2. Steve Francis at some point is going to be a Hall of Famer. Derek Fisher's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Lamar Odom, Paul Gasol. Oh no. That's Phil shit. We're talking about Blake, Chris Paul. You got 2 6-man of the years who are probably going to end up multiple times that are going to end up in the Hall of Fame. DeAndre Jordan, who he's going to have to wait it out. And the other players that he's had. JJ Redick is going to politic his way in somehow. Then you go to Boston. Then you were also in Boston. KG, Rondo, Allen, Pierce. Those are going. Like, he's had at least, and then Philly. Then in Philly. Like, how many Hall of Famers do you need? And you only have 1 championship, and nobody's looking at it like, yo, what's good? And then we're not even talking about the Bucks with Dame and Giannis. Like, come on, how many? He's been blessed. And Drew, like, he's been blessed. There's no way. He should have accomplished more. Should have been at least 2 or 3 more championships to justify it. The Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady thing, I understand. But the other ones, he should have won a championship everywhere he went or got close to it or closer to it. He did well in Philly, despite, everything that was going on there. He did all right, but it never got deep in the playoffs to justify the supremacy in the regular season. At some point, you got to bring in new blood because apparently it's going to be a players coach, like a players coach type of league where they might not have the systems down packed, but at least they're going to get the effort from the players. I want to see effort. I want to see more competition, which is going to come because these young guys really don't like each other like that. They don't. They really want to compete with each other. They with shits. And I told y'all that 2 years ago that it's going to be more competitive. It's going to be more competitive, but we got to get these coaches out the way so that the players can have coaches that identify with them. Because Doc Rivers ain't identifying with nobody now. You know what I mean? He don't some of these players are my age. Some of these coaches are my age. They don't relate to 20-year-olds and 19-year-olds now. He don't. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be, coaches like Love Jones and Missoula and guys like that they can relate to. There has to be more of that. You know what I mean? So they're gonna have to usher in, because if we're gonna see mediocrity in the playoffs, I'd rather it be from a young coach and let that be the conversation and build that up. Build the next generation of coaches instead of holding on to what used to be. Because it's not working. The game has evolved and they're not seeing the game the way they're supposed to. And now we got superstars that need to keep it moving too, because their greatness isn't impacting the environment the way it used to. I've been saying this for years. It just, your 30 don't mean nothing no more. Your 28 a game don't mean shit no more. Ask Kevin Durant. He's a bucket, but it don't mean as much. It don't. They play so bad, coach got fired. He got to own that. Now they talking about he might be a Celtic, or he might be over here in Dallas, or he might be over there. Like, he's just the magic free agent that's gonna make everybody's situation better. But he's going there with this entitlement of, I'm the best player, and he is normally gonna be the best player on that team. But you can't play through him. He has to understand that he's the third option. He can't even be the second option on your team. He has to be a third option. You got to treat him like they treated Ron Harper when he went to Chicago. But his ego, and people aren't going to apply that type of pressure to him. And we got a lot of superstars that are still like that, and they're still letting them start, and they're not developing the young talent, the new talent, and the new systems. And it's a mess until somebody stands up and makes a real grown up decision. The Bucks could be the beginning of a new day. But it's over, baby. Hey, you gotta go. You know what I mean? It's time for them to go. And let's see what we can get. I'ma holler at y'all. This is the remix of the first video. Hopefully the audio's up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see y'all later today. Listen. I'm on their neck. And it's not about me being the best or me being the king. It's about you not gonna be the best and you not gonna be the king. I don't want you to have it. When people start talking about who's the best doing this shit, it ain't gonna be no unanimous. Oh, y'all, it's gonna be like, nah, but homie over there, thinking nice. Homie over there get busy. I don't know, because my man over there, I gotta check in and see what's going on over there too. I know they paying you and to look good and they put the makeup on your face. You got a barber, you got catering. But that dude over there those are hot Cheetos over there. Yeah, I know y'all, the barbecue, salt and vinegar, onion and garlic. Y'all got the flavors, but the kids fuck with the Cheeto, the hot Cheeto. We gotta see what that's about. Your man he busting his gun over there. He getting busy. We be checking to see what homie's saying, but y'all good too. We just can't get nobody to crown. It's like when you say who's the best MC? Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas. Pac, Snoop, or Ice Cube. You know what it is. It's hard to decide. Nah, nobody is the best. They all play their position. I still think Jermaine Dupri is the best producer, but some people got Timberland, and that's respectable. But JD is a star maker. That's what I would love to be with this content. Turn it into some superstar shit. I'm gonna holler at y'all. I'm gonna get going. I gotta run around. I had to do this again. This is the remix. If you want to dance, I'm gonna make you dance, baby. If you want to move, I'm gonna make you move. These niggas really think they can take off. Shout out to Drew Hill. We out of here. Peace.